What's going on, everybody? So, what do you do if you're connecting with organization and they tell you, no, we don't want to work with you, we're not interested, go find another program to reach out to? Well, hopefully they don't say it like that, but if an organization tells you no, how are you going to react? What are you going to say? What are your next steps from there, and are you preparing for that? So, hopefully, in today's session, I want to go through the three ways that I found that most of the time why organizations are saying no, they don't want to partner with you in regards to sending clients your way, what you can do during those situations, and how you can respond to them, and kind of where you go from there. So I think it's going to be a good one. Also got Alyssa here with me, so she'll be monitoring the comments. So if you guys have any questions, feel free to drop them in. My name is Terence Garcia. For those who don't know me, I operate independent living homes in the Tampa, Florida area. I've been doing it since 2021. I also have a lot of experience helping people get up and running. And if you click the link in the description of this video or in my bio, you'll be able to see the different ways that we can work together if you're interested in getting help getting up and running the right way the first time. So without further ado, am I saying that right? Further ado, let's dive into it. So actually, earlier today, funny enough, I had a call with a client who's in my accelerator program, and we met with a organization as well that we had reached out to via email. And after speaking with them on the call, I found out they actually weren't a good fit for us as far as like being they won't be a solid referral partner. I identify a solid referral partner as an organization that you meet with, you learn about their services, they tell you about their services, you learn about their services, you tell them about your services, and then they are also interested and have clients that they would be able to send your way when you have a property available. So after meeting with this organization, it wasn't going to be a good fit. This specific organization was actually another housing provider, but they focus on the sober living side of things. So they do sober living, recovery, and rehab. That's their specialty. A lot of sober living homes are usually interested in having additional housing partners that they can refer clients over to after a client graduates from their program, or is no longer in need of the more intensive care like AA meetings, 12-step programs, things of that nature. But this particular one wasn't interested in that, and it was because they did not have a time limit on how long individuals could stay in their program. So they essentially saw us as a direct competitor to them, which isn't uncommon. Other housing partners, I work with housing partners in the Tampa area. We've connected with other housing partners for tons of different programs, and they can still, build a relationship, refer people over to each other. Especially when one is full, you can refer to the other one, and then you return the same favor, vice versa. But the this particular one wasn't interested in that for whatever reason, which is perfectly fine. Funny enough, when I first got started in opening up, I reached out to a well-established organization where I'm located. They primarily work with veterans, and I was like, "Hey, reaching out. I want to get started in this. Just looking for some advice, some pointers. I want to be like you guys when I grow up." It's kind of how I reached out and went about it. And the lady on the other line said, "No, you sound like a direct competitor, so we won't be able to help you, give you advice, or work with you at all." And in my mind, I was like, "What do you mean? Like, there's tons of people in need. Where's the competition? That you can't house everyone yourself. You're not housing everyone yourself." But that's just how some people are. Some organizations are. They view you as a competitor, which is okay. There's nothing to be upset about or angry with them. Don't call them out their name or anything like that. You just roll with it and say no, it makes sense. Now that we know, glad we got to learn more about your services. So if and when it makes sense, we can still send someone your way because we do not deal with recovery and rehab and things of that nature. So that's kind of how we ended it. So that's the first reason why an organization might tell you no, is if they see you as a direct competitor. Okay. The second reason why an organization might say no to you is if they primarily get HUD funding, and they're not sure where you kind of fit in, or how they can work with you, because HUD funding right now is only eligible for mainly individual units, sometimes private rooms as well, but definitely not shared rooms. So if you're coming to them and you pitch heavy on the shared housing or the shared rooms, you're not going to know where you fit in. So another use case, connected with a different organization with another client in the accelerator program, and the organization was saying how they have X amount of clients on their waiting list. I think it was like close to 700. So they had close to 700 clients on their waiting list, and they were saying, yeah, but we get HUD funding. Sometimes it's limited, so we're primarily working with homeowners or people who have individual units so that we can refer clients that way. But the waiting list is so long. I feel bad for all these people, but we don't think we'll be able to work with you because our funds won't cover it. So in those situations, the organization is telling no, because they're not sure where you fit in. And hopefully you're going to run into this less and less now, but if they're unsure where you fit in, that's where your education comes into play, and you let them know how you can help and be a good fit and a good housing partner for them. So you ask them, well, what about those 700 people who are currently on your waiting list? Where are they staying? You could just start off by saying, where are they staying? Most of the times they're not going to be too sure. Then you can go and say like, well, are they couch surfing? Are they staying in a shelter? Are they sleeping in the park? How can we get connected with them so that they're in a better position, especially the ones who have funds, to where while they're waiting on your waiting list, they don't have to be in an unsafe, unstable, uncomfortable environment. They can stay with us, and then as soon as their name gets called on, then they can move on to a more permanent housing solution through you guys that you will be able to cover. So you're showing them where their gap is based off the questions that you ask them. If you don't know what questions to ask them, if you're in the community, you can go to the pitch and partner section. We got good questions to ask organizations so you can get a better understanding of like their services and things of that nature. So you go into the call prepared, but you ask them questions, you learn about their programs, you learn about the services they have, you learn where their gaps are, then educate them on where you fit in on their process. So it's a no-brainer, and you're a great housing partner for them. All right. Let me pause. I feel like I'm rambling. You're the only person I could ask. Is that clicking? Is that making sense what I'm saying?
Yeah, someone said exactly.
Someone said exactly. All right.
Leslie said exactly.
Huh?
Leslie said exactly.
Shout out to Leslie who said exactly. Cool. So that's the second way. So an organization might be primarily getting HUD funding and be unsure on where you can fit in and how it can work. So in those situations, be prepared to have to educate someone on that process of what your housing program does, the clients that you'd be able to help, and kind of give them a reminder like, hey, we don't need to go through HUD funding. We're just here to fill a gap that's there, and there's not currently a solution for that. The third way is going to be they assume none of their clients would be interested. I love when this happens. Case manager, shout out to the case managers out there. I love my case manager partners. Case managers love speaking for their clients, and for the most part, it is important and it's good. I always think it's funny though, if you're working with a case manager and they're hyping up one of their clients, they're like, "Oh yeah, they're a perfect they'd be a great fit for your housing program. Yeah, they're a great person. You wouldn't have any issues with them." And then you ask, "Well, how long have you been working with them?" And they'll say, "Oh, they came on my caseload 2 days ago," or "I just got them on my caseload today," right? So they don't really have a track record with the individual, but you have to remember that their job is to help their clients who are on their caseload find housing. So sometimes they won't lie to you, but unless you ask the questions, they may not share the information that you need to know. So make sure you're doing your due diligence as well. And again, I love my case manager partner. So, and all the other case managers out there, keep doing your thing. You guys are a godsend, and it's definitely needed for the work that you guys are doing. So shout out to you guys as well. Um, but so for the case managers, that who maybe are omitting the truth. Outside of that, we also have the case managers who, or social workers or housing coordinators who you can speak with and say, yeah, we're going to have private rooms and shared rooms, and be like, oh, none of my clients would be interested in shared rooms. All of them want private, especially if they're at a shelter. Yeah, none of my clients want a shared or private room. They want their own one bedroom, one bath apartment unit. That's the only thing they'll be interested in. So we had somebody in the housing department community who she made a post about this, which I think it just puts this together perfectly. She said that she reached out to a shelter, she gave them a call, and that she connected with a case manager. She pitched them on why she was reaching out. Case manager said, "Oh no, nobody in our shelter would be interested in that. They all want their own one bedroom, one bath apartment unit, etc." She didn't take it personal, which I recommend. Don't have thin skin in this business. She waited a couple hours, or it might have been the next day, but then she called. No, it was a couple hours, and then she called back. When she called back, she got a different person on the line. This person had a completely different personality, was excited about the opportunity, and invited her out to come for a tour of the shelter. So the next day, she went out to a tour at the shelter, and not only did she have a positive reaction from the team members at the shelter, she got to speak to some of the current residents of the shelter, and they expressed their interest. I think she had like 2 or 3 people join her waiting list just from that interaction, right? But if she would have given up after that one phone call from one case manager within the one organization and said, "Man, no one in this organization is interested in shared housing," or "Man, no one in my area is interested in shared housing," then she wouldn't have got those people added to her wait list and established a relationship with that organization. So just because a case manager says that they are not interested in shared housing, doesn't they can't speak for the whole organization, right? And they can't speak for all of their clients, right? And even if, let's say, worst case scenario, the case manager, the clients, and the whole organization is just completely against shared housing, that's just one organization in your entire area. So you can't get discouraged if you hear no and let that change your plans, what you have going on, and what you how you want to set up your housing business. Because the way you're setting it up, there is a need for it, but it's not going to be for everybody. Like I mentioned earlier, most people do want their own one bedroom, one bath apartment unit. Then they prefer a private room if possible, and then they have you have shared room options. There's not enough of private rooms, and there's definitely not enough individual units for everybody, and there's no alternative solution. So there's going to be people who are interested in shared housing. You just have to make sure you're you know properly properly saying what you have to offer and educating people on how you can help. How was that?
Good.
Good. All right.
If
Do
you
we,
want to do questions? There's only
let's do
two.
some questions. Go ahead.
Bree says, how much is the accelerator program?
7,500 for the if you want to join the accelerator program, but you have to fill out the application first. So the application's in my will be like in my shop. So you can view that, fill out the application, and then we'll hop on a call, make sure we're a good fit. If we are, great. If not, no hard feelings.
And then Honey Mac says, so do shelters have caseworkers also?
Mm-hmm. Yep. Shelters have caseworkers as well. Perfect. And those are the only 2 questions?
Yeah.
Let's go. All right. So those are the top 3 reasons why I think that organization, at least that I'm coming across, why an organization would say no. The biggest thing, though, guys, is when you are going out in marketing, you cannot have thin skin when doing your outreach. You're going to be told no on both sides. You're going to be told no when you're doing your marketing to connect with organizations. You're also going to be told no when you're looking for a property, right? It's a part of business. You have to have thicker skin when you're getting started with something, and you can't get discouraged easily, which is why I think I encourage and highly recommend people to. We posted a video today about how who you're connected with can kind of change your perspective on things. It was a skit where I'm thinking about opening up a group home, and I connect with somebody who was Alyssa. She's playing a character who I connect with someone, and they kind of um, deter me or question me on why I'm deciding to open a group home, which kind of discourages me and makes me think it's not meant for me, or I shouldn't be doing it. And then I continue walking down the street and I connect with somebody else who's also Alyssa. And instead of speaking negatively about it, she speaks life into it and says, "Oh yeah, like that's awesome. You should do it. That's a good idea." Even tries to connect me with someone at the end. So the power of who you're connected to when opening a new business venture is extremely important. So whether it's the housing department community or another group or tight knit group, make sure you're staying connected with other people who are doing the business, taking it serious, and going to speak life into your ideas. Because it's not going to be all, what did I say, peaches and rainbow?
Uh, roses and butterflies.
We got two different analogies.
Wait,
But
what?
roses and butterflies, peaches and rainbows, it's not going to always be perfect. There's going to be stumbling blocks. Things aren't going to go as planned. And you need to be, it's okay to share that information and then get positive reinforcement from somebody as well. I was talking to a client today, and they were saying, "Oh yeah, I'm going to visit an organization in person. I'm really nervous. I'm not sure what's gonna happen." And I started telling them some stories about my first couple visits and how I was nervous. I joked about how I'm a sweater, so I had to get smart on like the color shirt options that I was wearing, because some of them will show sweat stains and stuff like that. So everyone has like a starting point. So there's nothing to be embarrassed about or feel alone in. You just have to push through it, and it's a lot easier if you're in a group. I think that was the main things I wanted to cover for tonight before we hop into. Oh, I'm not even on my right outline.
What's the process when getting business insurance?
Was that a question? Is that your question, or someone asked that?
No, someone asked.
Process to get business insurance. You get general liability insurance attached to your LLC. So to get started in this business, so just to summarize it, I recommend you start with your business foundation. So get a LLC, EIN number, business bank account, and then look into business funding if you need it. After you do that, then you're going to do like your front end marketing work. So that's a website, flyer, and then you're going to establish a good way to keep track of your contacts. We're not doing pen and paper. We need either a Google Sheet, something that's digital, or a CRM software. All right. That's how you're going to keep track of your contacts. After you're done with all of those, then you move forward with building a list of organizations in your area. You should try to get at least 50 organizations on your list, 50. After that, you start your outreach to them. So you got email, calling, and visiting in person are your different forms of outreach that you can do. Um, Once you start outreaching, you should be hearing back from organizations with the goal to set up an introductory meeting, with the goal being, hey, let's try to have really 3 to 5 solid referral partners that we've met with. They understand the business model, we understand what they do, and they would have clients that they can send our way. Then you secure the property, then you furnish it, you invite those same organizations out for a tour. After they come out for a tour, then they're more comfortable and confident in sending clients your way. And then you keep marketing and repeat until you get your home filled up. You got to close the deal too, which we could talk about at a later date. What other questions do you guys have? I didn't even do the sound check to make sure people could hear, but
I think they can hear me.
yeah, we got our mics on, so I think it's going good. Um, uh, I don't have anything. I don't think I don't see any questions, and I don't have anything else to share for this topic. Should we end?
No. How to house no income residents?
How do you house no income residents?
Well, then you wouldn't have a business, right?
Yeah, you can't house individuals who have zero income unless an organization is paying for them. So if an organization is paying for them, then you'll be able to house them. But you shouldn't be accepting people in who have zero way of paying for your program. So one thing I like to ask when clients are calling in, or you have people expressing interest in moving into your housing, is, are you in need of a shelter or do you have funds available? Because if they don't have, or if they don't have funds available, then your program's not going to be a good fit for them, because you're a business at the end of the day, and you need the funds to run the business and be able to help other people. If they're in need of a shelter, you're not a shelter, so you can refer them to the top shelters that are in your area.
And is there a difference between independent living and a group home?
It depends on who you're asking, unfortunately, but group homes are usually determined by, or if you Google the term group home, it's like an umbrella for various housing programs. What's happened over the years is different names for housing have been like siloed for a certain demographic. So people use like transitional housing for people coming out of jail or prison. You have sober living. You have boarding homes, right? So there's different names for it, but all of them kind of operate the same. The big difference between a licensed group home or an assisted living facility versus an independent living is going to be the group home, licensed group homes and assisted living. They offer care and services. So outside of just housing, they most of the time have like 24/7 staff there, and maybe some case management or life skills assistance as well, to where independent living, you're just providing housing for people. So you're providing the safe, stable roof over their head.
Someone asks, what about continuum of care and attending those meetings?
Say it again.
Someone asked, what about continuum of care and attending those meetings?
Yeah, they can be helpful. A lot of times though with the COCs, they are directly tied to HUD. So they are the ones that are allocating the HUD funds. So a lot of them, again, you'll have to do educating on where you can fit in and how you could help, but most of their funds won't be eligible to use on your housing program.
Someone says, I know this sounds crazy, but when it comes to an LLC name, what does the name matter? Can I name it anything? I feel like you just told someone about this. Oh,
Yeah, yeah, I
what
mean,
I just
your LLC isn't the end of the world, and you could also too, like, your LLC name can be 123 Main Street, and then you could have a DBA, which you'll see when you're filling out your LLC application, which stands for doing business as, and that can be your customer facing name. So that can be, we'll say Leslie Housing, if that's what you wanted to name. So that would be the name on your website and things in your housing agreements, and people wouldn't know what your actual LLC name is outside of the banks, and when it comes time to fill out a W-9 for the organizations. So I wouldn't overthink your LLC name unless, I almost said, somebody say unless. We need to get I think I would do better with a live audience. I
Mhm.
need some. I need energy. That's why I have you here. So I appreciate you. But unless you're interested in business funding, then your LLC name doesn't matter. If you're interested in business funding, Gladstone White, who's our business funding expert in the community, he's going to tell you you need to be set up a certain way. So make sure you're locked in. Selecting a general name, nothing that has real estate in it or credit or anything like that. It needs to be more general. You need to use a virtual address. You need to set up your DUNS number, the whole nine, if you want a good chance of getting business funding, which is business credit cards at 0% interest.
I'm lost in starting my LLC. Virtual address is good to use until I get a house address.
I'm lost in starting my LLC. Virtual address is good to use and still getting my.
Until getting my physical address.
Yes, that's what the virtual address is for.
Someone asked, can an ILF accept temporary rental assistance, TRA?
It depends on what the program qualifications are. Like the organization we met with yesterday, yes, their funds are eligible to provide it even for a shared housing program. Some of them, if the funds are directly from HUD, then no, they won't be able to do it if it's a shared room. If it's a private room, then yes, they may be able to do it, but they might cap you based off FMR, which is fair market rate. What HUD, determines how much each property can generate income wise, or how much they're willing to pay for each property income wise.
Any more questions?
I'm gonna put this out there. No one, you can't even, like, there's no link or anything like this available. But I think we're gonna be in California in end of April, and I think I want to host an event in LA. When we go, I think we're gonna host an event in LA. I've been talking to Alyssa about it and praying on it. We haven't announced anything, but I think we're gonna do that. I want it to be small though, so we're probably gonna be small, 20 people max, and I want to do it in like a mansion. I want to do it in a mansion, and have some, like, a grant speaker come in, have some real estate experts come in, but I don't want to do it at I've never hosted an event before, but I don't want to do it at like a hotel or a conference room or anything like that, because I think the biggest thing that has helped me over the years too is getting exposed to different environments and different levels in the way people that are living. So I want to do it big so that, when you go there, you have no choice but to turn into a different person, and, have an experience and be exposed to something new that you want to take with you and grow into, and have that be more of your everyday life. So mansion, let's do private chefs. Maybe we can, like, rent out like a dope car, have people take pictures with the dope car, like a Rolls Royce or something. I don't know. We'll see. But if that's something you guys would be interested in, comment, maybe just comment below or send me a DM. And then maybe I'll put like a waiting list link available for the people who are interested, and then I'll email them when it's available. But I think that would be cool. And it'll be in California, where we're from. Best coast.
Someone asked, do you think that this market has become saturated? What would set a business apart from the rapidly growing numbers of independent living homes?
Yeah, it's not saturated, but it's definitely more well known. So what's gonna set you apart is doing the establishing relationships with the organizations better than everybody else. So instead of just being a email, you are your name. So you're Terence, or you're Alyssa, right? And the only way you get to that point is by knowing your stuff, um, doing a good job in your intro meeting to help them figure out where you fit in, and having a why that's stronger than, hey, we're just looking to make money. Like, you actually have to care about people, and you have to show them that you care about them by actually showing up for them. So when you're on a call, don't just make it all about you. Or do you have clients that you can send my way? Ask about their services. Ask if they have upcoming events. Ask if you can what the process is like to send clients their way as well. If you don't understand the process, if they just say, "Oh, just send them to our website," say, "Okay, what's your guys' favorite type of clients?" That way we know exactly who to send your way, right? Those are going to be different ways that you show that you care by actually caring. I don't think there's a cheat code, but I think people are really good at being able to tell if someone's genuine or not enough. I like to believe, and I could be wrong, but I think people are watching this live right now because you guys know that I'm not just on here um, trying to sell you on some program, or only only wanting to give you information about, join the accelerator program or join the housing department community. I love when people sign up and they join, and I like working with people on a higher level, but I also do my best to make sure we give value to the people who are watching live, asking questions here, because I genuinely care. I'm not just going to give you fluff that you can put in Chat GPT, because that won't be beneficial for you. Because even though you may not be invested into the program or the community, you're still investing right now with your time, which I value and want to make sure you're getting a good ROI on it. And that's why, some of you guys show up. So the same way that you guys can tell that, and that's why you choose to tune in, the same way an organization is going to be able to tell when you're connecting with them, and that's going to help you stand out.
I think Marika sent you a gift.
Thanks, Narika.
Someone asked, we are in Florida.
Yeah, we're in Florida.
Have you answer that?
Cool. Well, we are, with that being said, we are about to hop on coffee hour call in 11 minutes. Every week inside the housing department community, we do coffee hour, which is probably my favorite call. Sorry, Money Man G. But we go over a win for the week, some we're working on for next week, and then it's a live Q&A session. So we got people coming in who are just getting started. We got people coming in and talking about issues that are happening at their house. We got people coming in and talking about conversations they had if they're looking for a property. So it's always a good time. So we're gonna hop over to that. As always, please leave comments below, like the video, and if there's any specific topics you would like me to make a video on, don't hesitate to post it. And then if it makes sense, I'll do it. And if you are interested or would want more information about a live in-person event in LA at the end of April, let me know. Leave that in the comments too. All right. Oh, we got another question?
Oh no, sorry. What population is the easiest to work? Is the best or easiest to work with?
The population that has the biggest demand in your area is the best to work with. So instead of silhouetting yourself and like saying like, oh, you only want to house veterans or returning home citizens or something like that, I highly recommend you cast a wide net initially. Reach out to organizations that work with kids aging out of the foster care system all the way to low income seniors and everything that's in the middle. From those conversations, you'll see where the biggest need is in your area, and then focus on that. Within any type of business, you're not in business if you're not solving a problem. So if there's not a veteran problem in your area and you're only out to help veterans, then you won't be in business very long.
Supermom 373. She is your first attendee for the Los Angeles conference in April. She said me and 3 other people will be attending if that's possible in your end.
Let's go. Sounds like a plan. Yeah, we don't have any of it. Literally, you guys are the first people I'm sharing that with, because I've been talking to Alyssa about it the last couple of days, but none's put together. But we already have travel plans to go there, so I think it'd be cool, and it's been on my spirit. And I want to. The real thing is why it's been on my spirit is because, again, and this is no knock or no shade to anybody, but I've never done an event. I've gone to lots of events, but most of the events I've gone to are at hotel lobbies, conference rooms, stuff like that. I want it to be like more of a, I guess, like a mastermind.
Yeah, like an intimate setting.
Yeah, I want it to be like more of like a mastermind, intimate setting. Not having a ton of people there. Like, we should be able to really network, and I want us to grow as individuals. I want to pour into the people that are there, so that you're in, and maybe you're already well off and you don't need the extra exposure, and you're just going to come for the information, because the information is going to be great too. But I know there's going to be some people who, maybe they've never been in a mansion before, they've never had like a private chef cook for them or something like that. I think being able to offer that type of experience and have that exposure for someone is awesome. Like, for me, I remember like the first time I went to Miami, and seeing a bunch of Rolls Royce Cullinans or G wagons just parked on the street like they're nothing, right? Um, uh, that type of stuff I like seeing because it shows like, man, there's other people living differently than how I am, and then it motivates you to not just go out and make money, but it motivates you to deeper your relationship with God. It motivates you to be more disciplined on your routines. It motivates you to pour into more people because you see how other people are living. And then for me, a lot of the people I would see with those things like weren't even godly people. So I'm like, God, if that's what they have, I know the blessings for me is going to be crazy. So, um, yeah. And for the people it's for, it'll be for the people it's not. Heck, it could just be me, Alyssa, and the
Oh,
guest
we
speakers.
also talked about for people who aren't able to come, doing a virtual, like having it virtual, available virtual is
Yeah, if we
also
can make
really.
that happen, maybe. But I just want to focus on the small group for now. But yeah, we're gonna hop to coffee hour. It's always a pleasure. I hope you guys got value from this video. I hope it helps when you're going out, you're marketing, you're connecting with orgs. If they say no, don't get discouraged. Use one of the methods that we just went over. Again, just to recap, they may say no because they're viewing you as a competitor. They may say no because they primarily get HUD funding and they aren't sure where you fit in, or they may be saying no because they assume that none of their clients will be interested. We talked about the three different ways that you would be able to handle those situations, what you should say. And if you come across a situation like that and you weren't sure how to handle it, or you don't think you handled it the right way, no worries. Another good trick, if you're calling an organization and you get thrown like a curveball, you don't know how to handle it, call doesn't go well, it ends, call back 3 days later. They're not going to remember who you are or the name or anything like that. So you get a brand new start. That's one of the great things about being in the beginning. You don't got to take anything personal. All right, you guys, have a blessed rest of your day, and we'll talk to you later. Bye for now.